Hi. Hi. You're listening to Scotty and Andrew, and this is Fun with Horror.
Hey, everybody, I'm Scotty.
Hey, and I'm Andrew.
Hey, and I'm Alex.
Whoa!
Whoa! Hey, who's
That's
this guy?
That's a third person.
That is a third person. He
Who
looks
is this
familiar.
Yeah.
Am I a third person, or am I in your head?
Oh.
Wow. You just Shyamalan us all.
Shyamalan. Wow. Andrew, introduce this fine feathered friend.
As you may have recall from last episode, this is my brother Alex, who will be joining us for this episode 132, by the way, of Fun with Horror. So
It took 132 episodes to get me on here, huh? Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Well, Andrew just told me that you wanted to be on like a couple weeks ago.
Andrew,
I'm sorry. I know.
we're gonna talk later.
I know we will. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, this is the horror movie review podcast in which two long distance best friends keep in touch by giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss. But this time we have Andrew's brother Alex here, and we let Alex pick the movie. Alex, can you just quickly tell us what movie you chose?
I chose The Innocents.
The Innocents, Andrew.
Yes, from 2021, I think.
One
believe that's
of
correct.
those years.
20, 21, 22.
I think
Wow.
I have
In that range.
2022, but who knows? It could have been.
Who knows?
I think release was 2022.
All right.
It was a pandemic movie. That's all I know.
Yes.
And of course, stay tuned to the end of this episode where one of us, Andrew or myself, will pick the next movie. We have no idea who's going to get to pick the next movie just yet.
That's true.
We're going to roll a die and see what happens.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. It makes it, I don't know, it's a rush. It's a rush.
It's a rush. It's like doing
love it.
heroin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry,
I mean,
guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Come on now.
Not that I know what that's like, guys.
No, I know.
But I've seen Train Spotting, so
Yeah, from the movies.
it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched any movies lately? Horror movies that might be anything besides this one?
I've watched a couple. Yeah.
What?
Ooh,
Oh,
I
you're
have.
still here?
I have. Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm planning on being here the whole time, guys.
Oh, cool.
No, is that okay?
Well, that changes things.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay.
Sorry, guys. Third wheel here.
We just thought you were going to pick the movie and then leave. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that's
All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, see you
cool.
later.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me just change everything.
Yeah.
Alex, what have you watched?
So a couple movies. One is a book that I read first. The book I thought was excellent. It's an Irish book. The author is A.M. Shine, and it is called The Watchers. And so I just watched the movie as well.
That movie's based on a book?
It is. Highly recommend reading the book first.
That's Shyamalan's daughter.
It is. Yes.
Funny. Wow, that's a coincidence that Andrew mentioned Shyamalan, and then you
Wow.
watched a Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's the twist.
Wow.
I don't want to say too much about the movie itself, but I thought the book was phenomenal. I thought it was great.
Okay.
Oh.
Really good setup for the characters in
That
that
means he
in
didn't
that
like the movie.
book. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it out there. I like the book better. I'll say that.
Okay. That's fair.
What else did you watch?
The other one I watched was Imaginary.
Oh. And
No
Yes.
Imaginary.
Uh,
Or do I?
it wasn't my favorite. Yeah, you can look it up, Andrew.
I'm
It
looking
wasn't-
it up. I'm Googling.
but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It really
Okay.
wasn't. It's worth a watch, guys. I would say.
it's worth a watch.
Oh, right.
I haven't.
Okay.
I have not heard the same.
Yeah.
As we here at Fun with Horror always say we recommend everybody watch any movie you want to watch, no matter what we think of it.
To be honest, I think every movie is worth a watch. So,
Yes.
I think it's worth, and it may not be your thing, but at least try it. That's what I say.
Andrew, have you seen anything lately? Anything new?
You know what I watched yesterday?
Uh-oh.
Well, full transparency, this is the day after Friday the 13th. So I did watch Friday the 13th Part 5.
Ah, wow.
I know. I've seen Part 4 a few times, so I was like, I'll do 5.
That's amazing because in December, that's the
I know.
Friday the 13th we're going to talk about. So maybe you can join us.
That was
Andrew.
kind of the thought, my man. That was the
Oh,
thought.
goodness. Me,
I know.
Andrew, and Stanley talking about
Mhm.
Friday the 13th, Part 5. That would be exciting.
It's a perfect storm.
I would listen to that.
Good.
You know what? I'm going to say something real quick that we talked about off camera. Bowie, that's not a bug on the wall. That's just a spot. And she's trying to attack it. It's so cute. Anyway, Alex said something so kind that he
Oh.
has listened to almost every episode of Fun with Horror.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that he would listen to us even if his brother wasn't one of the hosts.
That is true. That is
Wow.
true. I listen to 2 podcasts regularly, and this is my go-to, and the other one is just the extra, the other one.
Oh, what is that? What it's called? The Extra?
No,
What's it called?
It's
Pimp it.
Smartless. It's Smartless.
Smart.
It's a big one,
Okay.
Yeah.
fairly large one.
Yeah. 3 very famous people.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it. I'll be honest.
good.
Oh, right
Good.
on.
Yeah,
It's fun. It's a fun one.
because right now there's 3 famous people doing this podcast. What am I? Yeah. haha.
Heck yes, there are.
Well, I watched a movie this morning, guys.
Ooh, what'd you watch?
I actually drove up to Oxnard, California, and I met with our friend Sam from Chuddle the Pod, and he and I went to see a 9 a.m. screening of the Speak No Evil remake.
Nice.
And let me tell you, Sam is wonderful to sit next to in a theater.
Aw,
It was a good time.
nice. That's awesome. I'm so glad you got to actually meet him in
Yeah.
person.
I am very excited to see that one. I was a huge fan of the original.
That's right. I think you were one of the reasons we or Andrew picked it when he picked it. I think it was
Yeah.
a lot of it was because of you.
I can't remember. Probably.
Yeah.
It was you and somebody else in the Facebook group.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I think I like the movie, but that's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But it was great hanging out with Sam. We had
Nice.
a coffee and a cookie afterwards, and just sat and talked next to a bunch of turtles. So that was
Very
a good
cool.
time.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. What a good way to start
How
the
fun.
day.
Also, I'm gonna say this real quick. I have a bunch of movies coming up, guys.
What do you have?
Beyond Fest starts in LA pretty soon. And this is a kind of a movie festival that takes place in multiple theaters over 2 or 3 weeks. And there's like a movie or more every single day that you can go see. And I bought some tickets to a few of these.
Okay.
So on the first day of Beyond Fest, I'm going to go see the new Salem's Lot.
Ooh.
Nice. Nice. I'm very curious your thoughts on that since you're such a King fan.
Well, you're going to be able to see it pretty soon too.
Oh,
because
yeah.
It's shortly after that. It's
It is.
premiering on Max.
Yeah.
Early October.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
October 3rd. But also, I got tickets to see Hush, Mike Flanagan's Hush, but it is the Shush version, which is in black and white.
Heard about
And
that.
Flanagan also took out a lot of the music to. It's basically the version he wanted to release in the beginning, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. I didn't even know that he had done that.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
That's cool.
It's going to be on the Blu-ray, so if you guys get the Blu-ray, that version will be on it. But he's going to be there, and he's going to talk about it. It's going to be, I believe it's him and his wife are going to do a Q&A.
Cool. Oh, that'll be cool, dude.
I also got a ticket to see a Sam Raimi triple feature, which is awesome. And Sam Raimi's
Awesome.
going to be there for a Q&A.
Oh,
That's cool.
The movies are Darkman, followed by The Quick and the Dead, and finishing with Drag Me to Hell.
Ah.
oh wow.
Wait, you made a face.
Nice.
Quick and the Dead. That's the one with Sharon Stone and Leonardo DiCaprio, pal.
Oh, I love that movie. Actually, that is one of my favorites. I love that movie.
There you
It
go.
is excellent.
What?
I've
never seen this.
I may have it on DVD, Andrew.
What?
Yeah.
What
Wow.
is it called?
The Quick and the Dead.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good.
What? I have never even heard of this.
It's a
The
it's a
Quick and the
dueling
Dead.
dueling movie.
It's
Oh,
a
like
western. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
What?
Oh, excellent. How fun.
With DiCaprio? Oh, man.
With
That's
DiCaprio.
wild.
Great
Lance
people in
Henriksen,
that.
Keith David.
Yeah.
Whoa. Tobin Bell? What?
There you go. It's like a
Oh,
Saw
man.
reunion with one person from Saw. One more. I think actually the night before I go see that, they're having a screening of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh,
Whoa, which one? Original?
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
fun.
Didn't they? Well, I just want to make sure. Because isn't the remake also called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No, it's called
Is it?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Stop.
Also,
So
I put
close.
a space in between chain and saw, so I'm surprised you couldn't tell.
Foolish me. Shame on me.
No, it is. No, it's the 1978 The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or 1973. What? 1978.
Yeah, now who's the fool?
me?
Gosh.
Me. I'm the fool.
God.
No.
I'm the
No.
fool,
Let me
guys.
have this.
Neither of you are. You guys are
Aw.
great.
It's okay.
Aw.
We lost our innocence a long time ago.
Hojo. Hva heter det? Mamma, du blør.
The Innocents was written and directed by Eskil Vogt. It stars, okay, and I may butcher these names, guys, but it stars Rakel, Lenora, Petersen, Fløttum as Ida, Alva, Brynsmo, Ramstad as Anna, Sam Ashraf as Ben, and Mina, Yasmin, Bremseth, Asheim as Aisha.
Wow.
Well done.
Wow. Yeah.
Was that okay?
That was great.
I believed all of those were right.
As people may know, we now talk about what we thought of the movie without spoilers before we get into it. So let's start with Andrew.
Oh.
Because I think we know what Alex thought of this movie. So, Andrew, what did you think of The Innocents?
All right. Here you go, Alex. This was your movie.
I know. I'm worried, guys. I'm worried.
Take it easy on him.
All right. Here's what I thought. I thought this movie was excellent. I really
All right.
liked it.
All
I
right.
liked it a
Whoa.
lot. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, man.
I just pulled a Joey Lawrence and went, whoa.
Whoa.
I guess the question is, what do you think, Scotty?
Oh, boy. Here we go, guys. Here we go. I've seen this movie twice.
Hmm.
The first time I saw this movie, I gave it 2 out of 5 stars.
Oof. All right.
Ooh.
The second time I saw this movie, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. It went up a bit.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
I'm going to be honest, guys. The cat scene ruined the movie for me.
All right.
That is fair. That's fair.
And this is something it's okay to talk about. It's not a spoiler, and it's something people should know that there is a very difficult sequence dealing with animal harm. They do a pretty good job of making it not real looking,
Right. I would agree with that.
but it's still not just an animal death. It's the torture and death of a cat. And yeah, we're going to talk about that after the 3-minute recap because I definitely want to get into it and I have major thoughts about it.
Mm.
Hey, everybody, this is Scotty. Earlier, when we recorded this episode, we forgot to give you a spoiler warning, so here it is. We are about to spoil The Innocents. So if you have not seen the movie, at this moment, at the time of this recording, it's streaming on Shudder. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, just keep listening. Thank you very much. So, since Alex is our guest, we're not going to even roll a die today because Alex is going to do the 3-minute recap.
No, I think you guys should roll a die.
It's okay because you know what, Alex? I called Alva Brynsmo Ramstad.
Oh, boy.
And she said she can't wait to hear you do the 3-minute recap.
It's true.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I was on speaker when you did call her, and that's true.
Andrew, did you call anybody?
I tried calling Sam Ashraf, but he did not answer. He did not. So, sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, Alex, you have 3 minutes. If you don't make it in under 3 minutes, then we have a group of children outside your home, and they're going to break your pelvis with their minds and hurt you bad.
Okay.
If you don't,
All right.
if you go over 3 minutes.
That's fair. And I will try to do my best here.
All right.
You got
Whenever
this.
you're ready, go for it, buddy. Oh, and also just to remind everybody, we do the 3-minute recap without notes. We don't read from anything, so we might mess things up. We'll talk about them later. Alex, take it away.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
Okay, so it starts out with Ida and her autistic sister, Anna, in a car. Ida and Anna are moving to a new home, a condo or apartment building, and Ida likes to kind of test her autistic sister. So she pinches her really hard, and her autistic sister does nothing. And so she kind of does these little things like that. They move to a new location. They meet. She then meets a boy there named Ben. And there's a little bit of you kind of see some things like Ida stepping on a worm at the beginning. She and Ben drop a rock on an anthill, and so you get these little glimpses of kind of, you know, as Scotty had mentioned in the cat scene, some leading up to that. Ben seems to have some powers, and when the kids get together, Ida drops I think it's a bottle cap, and the bottle cap just moves like crazy, and he can you know, push it almost with his mind. And so we get to see that, and it has something to do with this location and where they're at, it seems to be. And then a little later, Ida finds a piece of glass on the ground, and she puts that in her autistic sister's shoe, which is really just awful and mean and brutal, but she does it. Her sister bleeds, and they meet a new girl, or a little later they meet her, but Aisha, and she can feel and see the blood and from the piece of glass in the shoe. So she also has powers, we find out. Let's see. Oh gosh. They this is hard, guys. They
Doing great.
Thanks. Turns out they do have powers, a couple of them. A little while later, the powers kind of build. Ben seems to, like to, test out his powers. And one of the things he ends up doing is dropping a cat off of, I don't know how many story building down a stairwell. Horrible, awful. The cat kind of limps away, and then a little while later, we see that he has actually tortured said cat. After that happens, Ida starts to get a clue that this may not be a good friend. Aisha does seem to be a good friend. She can now kind of, because she's an empath, because she can kind of feel and see things like that, she connects really well with Anna. And actually, Anna can now speak in the presence of Aisha, and even a little while later without Aisha. We find out later that Ben drops, he's not a kind person, ends up dropping a boiling pot of water on his mom with his powers, and then hits her with a pan, I think, or something later, and just lets her essentially die in the apartment. He does seem to have some regret. He cries a little bit about this, but a little while later, he then breaks a kid's leg with his powers when they're out playing soccer. He does this because he's kind of made fun of by some of the kids around the area. Then he finds out he can control people. So he actually controls a person and causes him to essentially kill a kid, push him, and kill him. And so he finds out he has these powers. Well, The other kids are not liking this. They don't like it. Aisha tries to stand up against him. He ends up pushing her at one point. The other kids just really are finding that he's not a good person. Ben, a little while later, possesses essentially Aisha's mom, and it's horrifying, but the mom grabs a knife and kills Aisha, and then Ben kind of leaves the mom. And so Aisha has now died. Well, Ida wants to do something about this. So she and her autistic sister head out onto the playground area across a pond from Ben, and essentially they end up holding hands and snapping his neck with their powers combined, I think. Maybe. They're holding hands at least, so that's my take on it. And that's kind of the end of the movie. I left out a lot of things, I think.
That's all right.
That's
all right.
okay, because you came in just under 3 minutes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're safe.
Oh, good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I know.
thank
the
you.
3-minute recap is well done. It's not easy. It's not
No,
easy,
and-
especially for newcomers.
And just getting the chronological order right is hard too.
Yeah, it's tough. We don't write it down like you said, Scotty. So
Yeah.
it's tough.
I think I'm the only person that enjoys doing them, so.
I like it. It's nerve-wracking a little.
It is.
bit.
It's
yeah.
stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
Well, you did the same thing that Andrew does, which is like you start
Too
off
much
really
detail.
good, and then
Yeah.
like you get to a point you're like, oh God, I forget what happens next. What? And then
Yeah.
you like panic, and it's so good. And that's my favorite thing about the 3-minute recap.
Well, fun fact: we are brothers, and
That's true. That's true.
yeah, yeah, and we're kind of similar.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so let's talk about some stuff here. Alex, I want to start with you. What do you love this movie?
I did. Yes, I do.
How many stars out of 5 would you give it? 5?
Ooh, probably 4, maybe like 4.25.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely in the 4 range.
Tell me what you love about this movie. What is it?
I thought the acting was phenomenal in these children. I mean, it's essentially 4 lead children actors throughout the entirety of the movie. And I thought the acting that they did was phenomenal. Probably some of the best kid acting, that I've ever seen. Kids don't have a lot of experience doing that, right? I mean, they just don't by age, by years. They don't have a ton of experience doing that. And so just seeing the vulnerability and the expressions and some of the things that these kids went through, and you could see it on their face. And even if they weren't speaking, you could just see the horror on the kids' faces. And I thought that was just brilliant and phenomenal. Great, great acting, but also great directing.
Nice.
What about the story?
The story it really captured me, and I don't know if it was strictly because it was kids, and the innocence, if you will, about them. But the story itself had me actually twice. I audibly gasped during this movie, which I don't generally do during a movie, but I audibly held my hand over my mouth and went, oh.
Well, like which parts? Because we're able to spoil it now. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
It was the boiling water on the mom.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait.
I could not.
I didn't spoiler warning this. Hang on.
Whoops.
I'm gonna go back. By this time, everybody will have heard a spoiler warning because I'm gonna throw one in.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
All right. So the boiling water on the mom, for sure. That one I thought was it just I wasn't expecting. I was expecting something. I was not expecting him to do that to his own mother. Ben doing that to his own mother. The other one was when Aisha's mom killed her. I was not, and that girl was so sweet and so kind and so loving towards other people. And it hurt me. It really hurt me to watch that. So those 2 scenes really they got me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew? What did you really love about this movie?
Honestly, I would say the same stuff. The acting was incredible by those young kiddos. But I liked, too, what they were able to do with kind of the budget. I don't know how much it was, but, they didn't use probably a lot. But I was still captivated by it. I was so curious what was going to happen. And I will say that this had one of the scarier villains I've seen in a while, to me. I actually, towards the climax, I guess, I even turned to Cindy and I was like, I'm frightened of this kid. Like, I am genuinely scared because seeing him throughout this, I'm like, he can do whatever he wants. And he because he's a kid, he doesn't have that frontal lobe isn't fully formed yet. I'm afraid of what he's capable of doing, and I'm really nervous about what he's going to do. So he scared me.
And you look at the horrific things that he already did, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is escalating. Yeah, and I would agree with that completely.
He was scary.
The budget, too, I'll say, like, you're right. I'm assuming it was a fairly low budget, that they had, my assumption. But some of the special effects with, like, the bottle cap moving and bending the water and things like that in the sink were, I thought, excellent and very well done.
And then some were kind of iffy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Fair.
What about you, buddy?
Oh, hi.
Hi. Your turn.
Oh, hey there.
I was just going to be quiet and see what happens if I didn't say anything.
No,
with two Hilliards here.
No.
We just need Julian. Okay, so let's talk about the cat because as I mentioned in our last episode near the end, this was a movie that a few people that I follow on social media, they said it was one of their favorite movies of 2021 or 2022, whatever year they saw it. And I did look it up. It is a 2021 movie. It was released in Norway in, I think, the end of 2021, like around November or so. I had heard that there was this scene with a cat, and I wasn't sure exactly what it entailed. I should have probably looked it up and read the spoiler of what happens to the cat. The first time I saw the movie, the cat scene, I hated it, but I needed to watch it because it is a part of this movie, and I needed to judge the movie on everything about it and not a scene that I skipped, right? And here's why I think that scene ruins the movie. It has to do with something the director said in interviews, and then how I watched the movie the second time, because when I watched it the second time, the moment they start to take the cat upstairs, I was like, fast forward. And then I watched the scene out in the playground, and then when Ida goes back down at night to look at what he did, fast forward. Basically, there was no cat death in the second version of this movie that I watched. And suddenly the movie, I was like, wow, this movie is so much better without that cat scene. Because when the cat scene happens, I freaking hated that kid. I hated Ben. Nothing he did later, I had no sympathy for him for the rest of the movie. I wanted him dead. I was like, this kid is terrible.
That's fair.
Unlike Ida, who at the beginning of the movie, she's doing some not so great things, pinching her sister and killing the earthworm. And I thought she was going to end up being the bad one. And honestly, I'll be honest, I had no idea what this movie entailed, so I thought all the kids were going to be bad in some way. The director has also said that he did not want this movie to be just another evil kid movie, and he specifically said that he didn't want audiences cheering when the antagonist is defeated. And I'm sorry, you failed. With all due respect, you directed and wrote a pretty amazing movie in a lot of ways, but you failed in making me feel any sympathy for Ben. When I watched the movie a second time, I kept sitting there thinking, if that cat scene was not in this movie, it would be almost a 5-star movie for me. Because everything after that and the way that Ben progresses, like when you don't have the cat scene, think about it, guys. Just ignore that scene for right now. And imagine that scene is not in the movie. Suddenly you have a little kid who is just dealing with a bad home life. His mom is unpresent and possibly abusive. We see a couple of hints of that. Yeah, the bruise, and then when she grabs his chin, and You know, you can imagine what else she might do to him when she's even more upset with him.
Mhm.
And you can just tell that he's not well loved at home.
Right.
He doesn't know how to react when somebody just makes a joke and laughs about him, you know, calling him what, Ben is a turd. Is that what it was?
Something like that. Yeah.
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 And then Aisha laughs at him and he pushes her down with his mind. And then there's the nice showdown, the first showdown between him and Anna, which is really cool. But you see this progress, and I would have loved to have felt sorry for him at times and just felt like he was a kid who suddenly realizes he has these powers, but doesn't know how not to lash out with them, you know? But because of the cat scene, I never felt that. I felt hatred for this little kid, and I just wanted him gone. I wanted him out of the movie. I wanted him dead. Yeah, I hate to say that about a kid, but you know, don't mess with cats around me, especially a beautiful little cat like Susu. Yeah, that's the cat's name. Susu.
Susu. Yeah.
So
I will say I was very worried for you watching that scene because, you know, it was a very brutal scene, a couple of scenes really, and I can disconnect from a movie pretty well. Like I can, you know, anything that, you know, happens in a movie, you know, Andrew and I have talked, like Andrew, you with babies and kind of little kids, and kind of bothers you, right? I feel like I can disconnect fairly well, and I think that's probably why it doesn't bother me as much. But that was a horrific scene, I will say.
Yeah, and I can, even with animal scenes, sometimes I can disconnect. We've mentioned a couple of movies, Firestarter remake, Inside. I don't want the animals to die. Listeners of this podcast will know that one of my big rants is you don't have to kill the family pet to make your movie scary. And I was prepared to be open-minded because in our last episode at the end, you said, and I can't remember if you said it during the podcast or afterwards, that, you know, there's a purpose for showing what Ben does to the cat. And I tried to keep an open mind. I tried to keep my own love of cats and everything out of it so that I could sit there and think, is there a purpose? And for a while, I thought there was, until I skipped the scene in my second viewing. And then I was like, let me think about this movie if it didn't have the cat scene and what I would think about it. And yeah, to me, it's a much better movie. But I still give it only 3.5 stars because the scene is in there, whether I skip it or not. And I think that's a deficit to the movie.
Just out of curiosity, if they skipped, you know, if they didn't do the cat scene, would you add more background or context to his home life, you know, Ben's home life or anything like that in place of it, or just leave it as is?
The cat scene doesn't add context to his home life. So
true.
I don't think it needs it. I don't think it needs any other context. I think you need to know that this is a little kid. You eventually see how he lives, and you see how he reacts to the other kids while the other kids are kind of acting somewhat normal, you know. The only purpose it kind of serves is for Ida to see who he really is and to examine herself looking at him.
That was the purpose it served for when I mentioned it. Like, that was what I saw, was that was the, you know, there was the escalation piece, and then, you know, the fact that she saw that and was like, oh, this is horrific, this person is not a good person. And I think that was her turning point. I would agree, it doesn't have to be that, though.
Well, let's talk about that. Was it her turning point? Because she does react to him a little bit differently at first, but then it's like it didn't happen. And she even has him mind control her. You know, I think the turning point is when she realizes what he can do to other people and when he breaks the kid's leg. Like, to me, that was the true turning point.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, because she does still go out and play with him and, you know, go hang out with him. You're absolutely right. Can we talk about that broken leg scene?
Of course.
The girl's face, Ida, her face when that happened. Ida. Sorry, Ida.
Let's be Norwegian here, Alex.
Ida. Sorry.
Yeah,
we are. So
yeah, we are a lot
Right, Andrew?
Norwegian, so yeah.
Wait, you guys are
yeah.
Norwegian?
A lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you guys are innocents
Yeah.
for real. Wait,
but-
let's jump to
Yeah,
that in a
okay.
second.
Okay.
Because Andrew,
Okay.
you're just kind of sitting there. What were your
Sorry.
thoughts about the cat scene? Like, and everything Alex and I just said.
So I liked it. No, I'm sorry.
Podcast over.
Sorry. I
Oh
know.
boy.
No, so I get it from both sides of it, I guess. When I saw it, okay, had you not told me just a little bit ago or told us that the director had said, like, I wanted the people to like the kid or, be sad when he died. If you hadn't told me that, I would say it was effective because at that moment you're like, yeah, he should die. Like, this kid sucks. Having heard what the director said, I'm like, well, I agree with you. I'm like, he's a bad kid. Like, I was cheering at the end. I was like, yeah, get Ben. He sucks. And they do. So had he not said that, though, I would say it's pretty effective. In all honesty, I was going to bring up, because I wasn't sure what you were going to say, but I was going to bring up the fact that we talked about, without spoiling, Dr. Sleep. There's a scene in that movie where I said, I wouldn't want that. And you said, but didn't you hate the characters more? And I said, I did. So I was going to bring that up, too, of like, didn't you hate this kid more?
But in Dr. Sleep, you're supposed to hate the characters. Like, they are
Right.
not
Well, and that's
good
what I'm
guys.
saying.
You're not
That's-
supposed to feel completely or at all. Like, that's weird because in Dr. Sleep, you do feel some kind of sympathy for the characters, even as evil as they are, or at least I did. In this one, I felt no sympathy for Ben, and you're supposed to feel more sympathy than I felt.
I did feel some sympathy for him.
Okay.
And it was really only one scene though that I will say that I actually felt that, and that was when he was in his room and just bawling his eyes out. And at that point, it was where I realized, oh, he's just a kid. Like he does have feelings. He's acting on impulse. He's doing things, but that was the point where I did have just a little bit of sympathy for that character. That being said, I was very happy when he died at the end of the movie as well.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Sorry.
No, you, please.
I was going to say I agree with that a bit. And the reason I wanted to bring this up too is there's a phenomenal comic book called My Friend Dahmer. And it's about a guy that literally went to school with Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, as we know, is a horrible, horrible human being. Horrible, a monster. Grew up and did the same thing. We see him that he tortured animals, which is kind of the first sign of a serial killer.
Oh, wait, he did?
He did, yeah.
Oh, I don't like him now.
Well, he's not. No, but my point is, in this comic, in his home life, he had no one. I mean, no one. He didn't have anyone that could try and guide him a little, or at least kind of put him towards a different path. I mean, he had nobody. And that comic actually resonated. It made me feel something where I went, man, if he had just had one person that said, I believe in you, let's try something different. I truly, who knows? I don't know what the future would hold, but we may have had a very different outcome with Jeffrey Dahmer. He may have been this prolific doctor that found a cure for cancer. I mean, he studied the body like crazy. Who knows what we would have had if he had one good person. And that was one of those things where I was like, man, I don't know what would have become of him. And I had that same feeling watching this where, yeah, he did horrible things, Ben did. But man, if he had had one good person to guide him or show him or use those powers for something amazing, we could have had a very different outcome. So I don't know. I'm split, man. It's one of those, I don't like the scene, obviously, but I did feel a little empathy for him later as well. But I really was fine with them killing him too. Yeah, this movie makes you think. I don't know.
See, I understand that empathy.
Mhm.
Because I felt it during my second watch.
Okay.
And that's why I hate the scene, because my first watch, I was not able to see that empathy. I wasn't able to feel that for him.
Right.
I saw this little, terrible, evil little kid that not only did a horrible thing to a cat, which the first thing they do to the cat is horrible, like dropping it down this staircase. But then what he does to the cat in the basement or whatever that place was,
Yeah.
and I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't.
Yeah.
I know we have viewers that love animals. I'm just going to say, go read if you're interested to find out what happens and you haven't seen this movie. Go read a spoiler because I don't even want to talk about it. But he's cruel, and you don't see everything. They do a good job of not showing.
That's true. That's true.
When the cat limps off, it's an obvious CG cat. Which I was okay with that. Like, good, show me obvious CG. Just like when Ida gets hit by the car, it's obviously CG as well. Or special effects or whatever. However they did it, it doesn't look real. It looks like just off a little bit. But yeah, the second time I watched the movie, like, I was like more blown away by his performance.
Yeah.
And you talk about when he goes into his room and cries. Oh my God, dude. Especially not knowing exactly why he's crying, because I'll ask for your interpretations. He cried when he lost the battle against Anna. I think, right?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think it was right after that scene that he goes home.
And then he also cries after the leg breaking scene, which Alex will talk about in a second. But after he breaks the kid's leg, then he's walking behind the apartments and there's Aisha and he almost kills her, but then Anna comes out. Both times he goes back and cries. What do you guys think? Do you think he's crying because he's frustrated that he's not the most powerful one there? Or do you think he's crying because he lost control?
Boy, good question. I think it was because he lost control. I don't know. He was a bad character, so it's hard for me to really, know the intent there, just with how many horrible things that he actually did.
Yeah,
but I do think it was a control issue. I think that was it. I don't know. It's up for interpretation for sure.
Yeah,
because he was upset after he killed his mom too, or after.
Yeah.
After because he, as a kid, he's like, this is kind of fun.
Right.
My mom got mad at me, so I can just make this pan fly and hit her in the head, give her a concussion, and now she can't move on the ground. So what would it be like if I poured the pot of water on her? With the cat scene, I didn't think of it like that. I'm just thinking like this kid's cruel and he's mean and he's evil. So of course he'd do that to his mom. But without the cat scene added, I'm like, this kid's just lashing back out at somebody who got mad at him. And then after he does that, he realizes in a way what he's done, and he's upset at himself for losing control and doing that and hurting his mom, because now he doesn't have a mom. She's lying dead in his kitchen, which was also disturbing as hell.
Yeah. When we see her later, just as he opens the fridge or something, and we see her still laying in the background, I was like, oh my gosh. Yikes.
Yeah, I think he put a towel over her head or something too, so that he didn't have to see her face.
Well, and that's a good point then of him being like, maybe he has some empathy, or maybe not empathy, but maybe why he was crying was losing control. There's still maybe a piece of that humanity in him, because he can't still look at his mom. And even when he, quote unquote, kills people, he's controlling someone else. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, yes, he's doing it, but he's still controlling someone else. If he was the one standing there with the knife, would he be able to? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This is a kid that's going through a lot too. He has an abusive home. He's got some friends, but now he's screwing that up. So he's all over the place. I don't know. He's a complicated character.
Yeah, I did think that the character development was excellent. I mean, just seeing that progress, because Ida was the same way kind of towards the beginning, and seeing her go opposite after that was, I really enjoyed that piece.
Yeah. See, and I would have liked for there have been a different reason for her to go opposite. I would have liked to have seen Ben being mean to people, and also I think you don't need the cat because of how he treats Aisha. And I think Ida realizes that Aisha is a better person than Ben as they're hanging out. And that influences her as well, So she sees Aisha as this somebody she enjoys being with more. And then Ben, she's starting to realize she doesn't enjoy being with him and watching the things he does. And then I do think that Ben starts to lose his innocence and humanity as the movie goes on. And especially after Ida pushes him off the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I missed that in my recap.
Yeah, but that's okay. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question just real quick about the cat scene?
No, we're going to move on. No, I'm kidding. Of course.
Fair.
Ask me anything.
If it wasn't a cat, if it was a different animal, different pet, if it was a rabbit.
If it was a person.
Okay. Only if it was a person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I'm just
no matter
curious
if he's that cruel to an animal,
Mm-hmm.
then he's evil. To me, he's an evil
Right.
kid. He deserves something. He deserves to go to jail or something. Maybe not to die, of course, but knowing what he does later in the movie, yeah, of course I want him to die. But also, if he had done that kind of torture to a person, it also would have been just as bad. Because, I'm saying an animal, but it's what he did to it, what he put that animal through.
With no remorse.
And even what he did
Right.
after the animal was already dead. The
Right.
way he treated the animal's corpse. It was just awful.
Yeah.
So I don't think that scene is a good scene for the movie at all. What I will say is I absolutely agree with both of you. The acting in this movie is phenomenal. It's just like this innocent acting that these kids do, but then they have these moments that, like, okay, so in the beginning of the movie when I did not like Ida, even though I didn't like her, I was like, this little girl has the cutest smile. Like when she gets excited and she smiles at something, it is just like it warms your heart, even though she was just pinching her sister really hard. When Ben makes the bottle cap fly and she's like, it's like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Fun fact, did you may know this already, but the mom in the movie and Ida are real life mom and daughter.
I did not.
I didn't know that at all.
Oh, that's cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's
I like
really
that.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they had some, I feel like had good chemistry.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, some really good scenes with the two of them, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this was another movie, like a movie Andrew and I talked about earlier this year, I think, When Evil Lurks.
Mm-hmm.
This was another movie where you had a child actor playing a person with a disability,
Mm-hmm.
an autistic. Actually, I think it was an autistic kid in When Evil Lurks, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a scene in the movie where they become somewhat normal for whatever reason. And when they become normal, you realize how good that actor is. Like, holy crap, dude. The girl, I thought she was really an autistic person that they got to be in this movie.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
She did a phenomenal job. And I do always kind of worry going into a movie like this when you have an actor who's not autistic playing an autistic character. It does worry me, like, where are they going with this? What, could they have used an autistic actor in this instance? I'll say I think it worked for this movie. I didn't feel like it should have been done differently, I guess. But it always kind of concerns me going into a movie like that a little bit. But I thought they did a good job with this one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like When Evil Lurks, you need an actor that's going to be able to act completely normal for a moment,
One thing, I agree with that. I think at the beginning, I really did wonder if this young actress was autistic. And even when I'm watching the scene, I turned to Cindy and I was like, because our mom worked with special education, and I was a para every once in a while in her classroom, and I knew lots of little kids with autism, like to have someone with autism kind of do some of the things that she was doing. I was like, wow, she's really good. Like they're getting like that's amazing. Until later when I went, oh, she really is not autistic. I was like, wow, she nailed that. I genuinely for quite a while thought that she really did have autism. So she was super impressive in this movie, and a character I genuinely loved. I just thought she was such a great character. I loved her.
When she was spinning the pots, or the pans and the frisbees, and just making them keep going with her powers
and laughing at it. She loved it. It's just and the moment the first showdown happens, and Ben is kind of pushing Aisha around, And then I was like, no. And then once we see Anna walking, and she's like doing kind of almost a tough walk, like, I'm done with this crap. I was like, yeah. It was like, started cheering. Like, I was like, yes, this little 13-year-old girl with autism is here to like kick some butt, and I'm all for it. So I loved it. I loved it.
Yet again, though, it's another example of why I didn't like the cat scene. I don't think you were supposed to want her to kick butt.
Right.
Because in my second viewing, I felt more proud of her that she was protecting her friends. She was protecting Aisha. She ended up protecting her sister. I didn't feel what you felt. That's how I felt the first time. I felt like, yeah, kick his ass.
Right.
But the second time I felt that's really amazing. Like the fact that she steps in and she's like, I'm not going to let this person hurt the people I love. You know, I loved that. And I felt that even more the second time when I ignored the cat scene, you know?
I felt it that time, though, because he's choking Aisha out. I mean, he's like, she can't breathe.
Oh, no, that scene. I'm talking about the first scene in the woods when Aisha's just laughing at him and he pushes her down.
Gotcha. I was talking about the second one. My bad.
Yeah, no, by that point, he's broken a kid's leg and you feel a certain way about him already.
Right,
but at the beginning, all they've done is said that Ben is a turd. Aisha laughs. He pushes her down with the force, and then he's trying to get to her, and Anna steps in his way, and it's just such a wonderful moment because it's like, oh, like there's something under there. There's something under the autism, and she's just protecting them, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, later on when he's almost killing Aisha, you feel way more like, yeah, get him, you know. And then, of course, at the end when she goes outside and has the showdown with him at the lake, man.
Yeah.
But back to the acting, we have Sam Ashraf as Ben, who, again, I'm just going to keep using this stupid cat scene. When I first saw him, the second viewing of the movie, I immediately hated him. But then I was able to calm down after I skipped the scene and everything and I guess I just refocused my mind and I was able to focus on his acting and holy crap, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene when he goes back into his apartment and sits against the door and he just loses it and starts crying. Like, wow.
Yeah. And he plays, I mean, obviously we see some evil stuff, but the way he played it too, he's, like I said at the beginning, he scared me. I mean, this is like one of the first times, in a while, I would say that I was watching the movie and I was scared of like the antagonist. I was scared. And again, obviously we see him do horrible things, but he's also, I mean, I said this at the beginning, he's a kid. Like, it's almost like they don't know all the rules yet. So it's like, I can do anything I want and it's fine. Again, that frontal lobe is not quite formed yet. And so that to me is really scary because it's almost like they don't think there will be any repercussions, so they can do whatever they want. And that someone with powers that has that thought is horrifying. That's horrifying.
Yeah. And when they don't let Anna out, when they lock her in, and you know that that's Aisha's last chance, the night that pretty much the night that Ben kills Aisha, you know? Like I had the worst feeling of dread.
Yeah.
And I was scared for Aisha. And then I love the moment when Ida comes back from the hospital and she looks out her window and the camera is just panning across and there's creepy little Ben standing across just staring up at her. I was just like, what? That's so creepy.
Yeah.
Like he was scary. Yep. And then we have Aisha, Mina, Yasmin, Bremseth, Asheim. I hope I said her name right, but she was also just so cute. I did not do my research well enough. I don't know if the little girl actually does have vitiligo.
She does.
Oh, she does.
Yes,
Okay.
I did read that. Yes, she does.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, she was so precious, and I hate that she had This movie has so many disturbing scenes, minus the cat scene. And one of the worst is a little girl's own mother stabbing her with a knife.
And not knowing she's doing it, too. I mean, and then waking up right after from her trance or whatever. Like, oh my gosh. Awful.
Yeah, that part was awful. I struggled with it watching that, like, because I had feelings for her. She was so sweet to everybody, right? And so that just makes you hurt a little bit seeing that. But the line that really got me was when she said, "Can I have a Band-Aid?" And I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, that was torture.
That's horrible. Yeah.
Look, you're crying right now. You're getting teary-eyed. I love it.
Tears.
Yeah, see, that was one thing the first time I watched the movie, I was like, I wasn't sure if as much as it's a horrifying scene and you need horrifying scenes in a horror movie, I kind of hated them for killing off Aisha. She's such a sweet little girl. But then the second time I was like, see, now this scene I felt served a purpose, you know? It made you way more scared for Ida and Anna, but mostly Ida because Ben was scared of Anna. So now, guys, let's talk about these powers they have. Because that also bothered me the first time I watched the movie. Where do they get these powers, guys? Why do these kids have these powers? What's up with that? Tell me. Talk to me.
Good question. I think it has to do with the location and where they're at. I don't know why or how or any of that, but I was also okay not knowing. Like it didn't bother me, actually. Typically, I do want to know. In a movie like this, I will want to know everything. Like, where'd the powers come from? How'd they get them? What kind of powers do they have? Why did they get certain power? You know, why did one kid get certain powers? Another one got other powers. This one didn't bother me as much. I'm not quite sure why. I think it had to do with, because I think it had to do with the location. And then I also think it had to do with practicing. They had to get better at their powers. And it seemed that they had to kind of practice to get better because I think it was Anna couldn't spin the pans in her house to begin with. But a little bit later, she can do that. And so she's kind of building on those powers. But I guess we don't know that she didn't have powers coming to that place first. But it seems like she got them when she got to their new apartment or condo building.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. And I did the same thing, Alex. Like, I even turned to Cindy right towards the end. I was like, I don't think we're going to find out how this happens, and I'm okay with it. Which, again, I'm the same way. Usually I'm like, how'd they get this? But I was like, okay. I mean, I'm all right with it. I will say I like the idea of the location because, again, we don't see Anna doing anything before moving. And also, all the kids at the end, like, every kid in that area is sensing something going on. Not the adults. None of the adults look over at Anna and Ben kind of having their showdown, but all the kids, or a lot of them, kind of look over too. So I'm wondering if it's something, again, location with kids. I don't know, but I'm with you. I'm fine with it. I like that they had it, and yeah.
The first time I saw the movie, it's something I didn't like. And Andrew knows I usually don't mind if something isn't explained completely. I'm okay with that. Maybe because I already hated this movie for the cat, I was mad at other things. The second time it started to hit me more. I didn't feel I thought maybe at first it might be location, but there was absolutely nothing in the movie that gave a hint that the location was giving these kids powers. Whereas what I was getting is that these kids were more powerful together.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it was just kind of metaphorical on the director's part to say that kids can be very powerful when they work together. And when they work apart, they're less powerful. I don't know. It's also an incomplete thought because, the kids do get more powerful on their own. But I also think that they were tapping into each other and they learned how to tap into each other.
Right.
I think Ben learned how to tap into the other kids well enough to strengthen himself. And then he learned how to use his powers on his own. Now, the ending, I think I have a little bit of a different interpretation than you guys.
Okay.
Because I feel that Anna, basically, she goes outside, and when it's just her and Ben actually almost overpowers her. He pushes her down. He sends some kind of thing across the water, and she falls to the ground. And for once, he's gotten more powerful, so she is not able to beat Ben until she gets back up. Her sister comes out. I felt that a bunch of the kids that were around, like Andrew mentioned, they felt something happening, but they also gave Anna more strength. I feel like they were actually adding their own powers to Anna's. And all these kids together, because even Ben is sitting there and he starts turning around. He's feeling stuff from all over.
He does look. That's true. Yeah.
So I think like some of these kids come out and they're like, we're gonna add our powers to what's happening. And that's what killed Ben, you know? And then even Ida comes out and she holds her sister's hand. And by that point, finally, we've seen that Ida has tapped into her own power when she breaks the cast, which, I love that scene. That's such a great scene.
That was cool.
But yeah, I feel like it was all of the kids working together that defeated Ben in the end. And I don't think they snapped his neck like you interpreted, Alex. I feel like they just stopped his heart.
Okay.
Because doesn't he like clutch his chest a little bit and he like feels something here?
Maybe he does.
Yeah.
And he sits down and then like that was a really cool effect. There's not too many special effects, but the ground moving and like the little sediments kind of lifting off the ground. And then when Ben dies, the way just this little wave of energy just like flows out from him and knocks the baby down even. You know? And even the babies were part of it. Like the baby starts crying when Anna starts, like I felt like in her mind she was reaching out to all these other children and basically saying, help me. And they helped her.
Nice.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And when I think about it that way, I love the ending. I love how all of their strength together beat Ben, the little cat killer. Sorry. So that's how I felt about the powers in the movies. And I guess in the end, it didn't bother me as much because I just felt like it was more of a, like these children are strong together. And then you think it's over, but then there's like the little thing at the end where Ida is with her sister and her sister's drawing on the thing. And she erases the thing and she holds the pencil like she's going to maybe draw something. And then the credits start rolling and it's like, you son of a...
Yeah. Oh, I like the credits as well. Did you like that? They went the opposite direction of what normal credits go. So instead of like they went, how do they usually go? They
top
usually
to
roll
bottom.
Top to bottom. They went bottom to top.
Yeah. It was very cute.
Yeah.
It tied into the I guess the image for this movie, which is I think it's Ida in a swing upside down.
Yeah.
Basically the opposite direction.
Which we kind of see very early on, and I do want to say that the cinematography was gorgeous.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't always gorgeous. Sometimes it was just normal, but man, the shots of all the apartment buildings were just always just beautiful photography. Damn.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so what's up with the snake, Alex? How did you interpret the snake? Because the first time is when Ben starts to mind control Ida, and she is holding a stick, and the stick is suddenly a snake, and she drops it. And when she mentions it to Ben, he says, that wasn't me.
Yeah, that's a good question. My interpretation was that was her powers maybe coming to life, kind of the start of it. But good question. I don't know. That was my interpretation of it because I was like, well, if he didn't do it, none of the other, unless it was a totally random other kid that we never met, in the movie, because obviously there's, like you had mentioned, there's probably a connection amongst all of the children there. So it could have been that, but I thought it was her kind of getting her own powers maybe.
See, and I guess I interpreted it different too, where I thought it was him saying that wasn't me putting the snake there. Because I felt like his gift, when he had people kind of controlled, it was almost like he used their own fear or something against them or their own thing. So when she holds the stick, yeah, he's using his powers, but he doesn't know what's going to happen. She's the one that sees a snake because she's scared of snakes. And so even when we see her later in her own little, when he kind of, after she pushes him off the bridge and she's like, kind of goes into his world or whatever you want to call it, she puts her hand down, there's a snake, which is her fear. So I kind of looked at it as that's his power. Is he didn't pick the snake, but he used his power to get her to do what you know what I mean?
And that's why he said he says something like that probably came from you.
Right. And that, it probably came from your fear. So
she doesn't display any power at all until she breaks the cast off of her foot.
Right.
That was what I saw. But I did love that scene. That scene was awesome.
It's so cool.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
I just want to watch that scene over and over again. The way she screams, like she's so cute.
And it just shatters too. I was like, it was a cool effect. I mean, it wasn't like it snaps in half. It shatters, like it blows up. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
I did like the realization that Ben's mind control, like, kind of put people into an alternate reality, like an upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things.
It reminded me of another movie we've done.
What, Andrew?
The Conjuring. The devil made me do it. Wow,
that sounded like two different people.
It was. I blacked out for a sec. But it was similar. It was kind of that same, why is this person doing this? And you kind of see it from their point of view. And it kind of made sense. So I felt it just reminded me a bit of that. Like, oh, okay. They're almost possessed.
Interesting. Yeah. What did you... Okay, so let's talk about a few scenes, I guess. Okay, Alex, what were you saying about the leg breaking? We're going to finally get back to you.
Yeah. Okay. It's all good. So the leg breaking scene, I think it's just Ida and Ben standing there watching some kids play soccer, essentially. And football.
Isn't it right after he mind controls her?
Yeah.
It might be right after that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because then he has her hold the stick out and he just easily breaks it with his mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes, let's...
Yes. It was when that snap of the leg breaking happens, Ida's face and the reaction she has, I have never seen that in a movie before. Like, it was a genuine, like, just absolute, like, shock that I've never seen that in a movie before. Like, it was so genuine to me that it stuck out to me, I guess, as a scene in the movie that was just phenomenal.
She had another scene like that stuck out to me. And she's a fantastic little actress, but the moment where the three of them, Aisha and Anna and Ida, are talking, and Ida says something like, yeah, she can't feel any pain, and Aisha goes, yeah, she can. She just doesn't display it. And she gives a look that's almost like, what have I done this whole time? Because I was doing it just for kicks and giggles, but I'm actually physically hurting her. And I feel like you could see that moment of her, like that realization of, wow, I have been torturing my sister for years, probably. We've only seen two things, the pinch and the glass. But I'm sure this has been going on much longer than that. So I just thought that was a great scene, too.
That scene you mentioned has maybe one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, because Aisha says she cries on the inside. And I was like, oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, because that's what Ida says. She says she never cries.
That's right.
And Aisha says she cries on the inside. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But that's one of the most beautiful things about this movie is how this movie brings them together as sisters. You know, at the beginning, Anna is this burden on Ida. And you can see it, like when they're eating dinner and her parents have to pay so much attention to Anna. And then Anna spills the juice. And then Ida's look that she gives her, she's like, ugh, why do I have to deal with this, you know? But I love by the end, this is her big sister who she now loves, who has basically killed somebody to protect her.
Right.
And there's just a completely new relationship. And even Ida is changed. She hugs her mom. You know, she's just a different person now.
Right.
It was frustrating when Ida lied to her mom or just wouldn't answer her questions, because it was so easy. Yeah. It was like, yeah, she fell in the woods. We were in the woods, but I guess they aren't supposed to be in the woods, maybe? Is that it?
Well, even the mom kind of gives a look like, because, I mean, it's jammed in there. Like, and I don't know, I just felt like I don't know. I don't know. I feel like her only thought is like, yeah, the only way I can explain this is that they made a tree blow up with their minds. And she's like, I don't know. That's too much. So I'm just going to keep quiet and hope for the best.
Well, I also feel like when she's in the hospital and her mom asks her what happened with the little boy, Ida's just a bad liar. Like, even then, she's like, she finally says, we were playing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just tell her you were trying to get him down. And he fell.
Right.
That's it. Such an easy lie. Maybe I'm just really good at lying, and that's terrible.
Well, and she's a kid, though, too. I mean, you got to take that into account. You know,
whatever.
Sometimes it's tough. Gosh.
So the music, guys. Let's talk about the music real quick. Did it? I'm going to ask Andrew first because I know his answer. What'd you think of the music, buddy?
I don't remember.
Oh, my God. Alex, what'd you think of the music?
I liked it. I did notice it right away, and I will say I'm probably more like Andrew in this. Like probably by the middle of the movie, I kind of forget about that and really get into the dialogue and everything else. So I did notice it at the very beginning, very somber kind of, tones to the music, and you got the feeling right away that this was not going to be a real happy movie. And so I did like that.
Guys, I'm going to agree with you at first.
Okay.
But as I always do, I went a step further, and then I listened to the score, the soundtrack while I was at work. I put on my headphones and I listened to it, and I was like, man, this music is absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
It's very gentle. It's very quiet and minimal. And it also has these dong, like these bells. That's almost like meditation music with a weird edge to it. And I highly recommend that you guys go listen to the score to this movie, because you'll be surprised at how beautiful it is. And then when I watched the movie a second time, this time I noticed the music more because I had listened to it, and I was like, wow, this is good.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I'm definitely way into the music. I think we've talked about pretty much everything. Do you guys have any other notes or any other scenes you want to talk about?
I don't think I do. Anything on your end, Al?
Oh, just another quick fun fact.
Yeah.
The director, Eskil Vogt. Vogt. I think I said that correctly. His birthday is on Halloween, so kind of fun.
Nice.
I can't remember. I think I might have read that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, one more. Sorry, one more quick fact. He originally wrote this as all boys as well.
Oh.
So it was going to be an all boy cast, and they changed that later on.
I did not know that. I know that they went through a rigorous casting process because they definitely wanted the right kids, and that getting these kids, I did read that after casting the kids, it shaped how the story moved through the movie. Like they had a story, but the actors themselves, knowing who they had, shaped how the story played out afterwards. And then also that he was really complimentary of these actors because they don't do method acting because they're too young to draw on method. So it was amazing watching these kids act a part, and then immediately they're off running and playing with the sound guy, and joking around after just doing this like scene where they're hyperventilating and scared,
Right.
So, but I think, are we ready for 3 questions?
Let's do 3 questions.
Okay.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Alex, you're going to go first every single time because you're our guest and we love you.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Love you guys.
What did you think was the best kill or death in The Innocents?
That's so hard. I'm going to go with Ben just because I wanted it to happen so much. That's horrible to say, but I mean,
I get it.
You just feel that way towards the end of like, hey, how much more can he actually do with his powers, and what is he going to do with them? And the fear of that makes me want to end it, right? So I'm going to say that I think the more power. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
That's good.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ben as well. I wanted him Gonzo, and it was satisfying. And I mean, we kind of talked about it, but I liked too how simple it almost was. Like, you know, when you think of a super powered kind of movies like we've seen and love, you know, kind of that last battle is this epic showdown. I like that. Yeah, it was, but it's also really subtle. And I was like, that's cool. Like, it was a nice, I don't know, it was just something different. It was something different, and I appreciated it. So,
I did. Yeah, that's a good point, because I did really love how there's this intense battle going on, but yet there's all these people around that have no idea what's happening around them. You know,
Right.
even when the swing crumples a little bit, like the one mom just looks up real quick, but then she looks right back at her kid. And there's like the most intense thing happening, and nobody knows. And then this kid just dies in a swing, and nobody knows right away.
right. I feel like there's some metaphor with that too. That everyone's going through their own things, and we don't even notice. You know, I don't know.
Possibly. That's a
Who
good
knows?
Yeah.
You.
My favorite was the cat.
I knew it.
kidding.
It's like I knew you were gonna say that. You snot.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. Gosh, Scotty, we're all trying to have a good time here.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the death of the cat affected the movie for me more than anything else. It ruined it for me. But no, I did, you know, Ben is mine as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The cat death and Aisha deaths were very powerful. That was kind of what I was going to say. Was they were very powerful deaths, just reactionary from a you know, how I feel. Right?
Yeah. And I will recognize completely that this fixation on the death of the cat is a unique thing to me, and that not other people will feel it, like you guys both have proven. It's not going to ruin the movie for other people like it did for me. But I think anybody that loves cats, especially as much as I do, I think it's going to ruin the movie for them. So I'd like to hear if it did ruin the movie for other people like it did me, and what have you, you know? But let's just move on to question number 2. Andrew, you asked.
Question number 2. Question number 2. Was this movie scary? So, Alex, we're jumping to you first.
For me, yes. And it has to do with kind of what you talked about, Andrew. Like, this is a villain that genuinely, like, the powers and the you know, where this could go, it's that unknown that really scared me. And so, yes, I would say it did scare me, and it was really just the villain. That's what scared me.
I would honestly, same thing. Like we talked about, you don't know where he's going with it. That's scary to me. So yeah, I would say it's scary. And probably you too. Like, we didn't lose sleep over it. It wasn't like that kind of a thing, but it was scary. Like, it's a very horrifying antagonist, you know?
Yeah. No,
Scotty?
I agree with all that. I was tense. I thought it was very creepy at times near the end. It didn't stick with me afterwards. I'm not going to bring up the cat again. Until we get to question number 3, Alex. Did you have fun with horror?
I did not have fun with horror. I thought this was a phenomenal movie. I thought it was a very well-made movie, and I did enjoy watching it. And it's one, I think I mentioned this, during when we introduced this movie, but you know, I think it's one that really sticks with me. It's one that I think about a lot. It's one that I have a lot of feelings towards, which I don't. Like I said, I don't do that with movies. I separate a lot from that, but I do have a lot of feelings for the children in this movie.
Andrew?
Same with Alex. Yeah, it's not like a happy movie. You're not uplifted through the whole thing. But I think it's a really well made movie. I thought it was excellent acting. So I had a good time. Scotty.
I did not have fun with horror, but the thing that this brought out in me is that I love my process when it comes to this podcast. I really, truly realized, especially with this movie, that, you know, every single episode I watch the movie that we're doing, and I watch it with no notes. I just enjoy it. And then I watch it a second time with notes. And when it comes to a movie like this, a movie that I did not like the first time I saw it, I know I'm going to sit through it a second time, and I start to do some research. I look up what other people thought of it. I look up maybe what the director's idea was, what his goal was in writing this story or shooting this movie. And I kind of live with the characters for a little bit longer than I normally would. Like, if I had just watched this movie once and then walked away and then we came and recorded this would have been a different conversation. But the fact that I did say this next time, I'm just going to skip through that scene and try and appreciate the rest of the movie, try and figure out where these kids get their powers and whatnot, and then starting to realize what the director was just trying to tell a story about when it comes to children and youth. I was like, thank God I watched this a second time, you know? I mean, I guess I kind of did the same thing with Cannibal Holocaust, Andrew. Because remember I told you I watched that a second time and I never thought I would. And the second time I skipped through all the animal cruelty scenes.
Right. Which were real in that one.
But it was kind of the same thing. When I skip through those scenes, I'm able to focus on the rest of the movie a little bit more. And the second time I saw Cannibal Holocaust, it disturbed me a lot more, you know?
Yeah, I could see that.
Although, to be fair, the first time I saw Cannibal Holocaust, I also wasn't the animal stuff didn't bother me as much as like this cat thing did, because that was a different time for me. And I've really grown attached to cats since then. So
That's fair.
Just out of curiosity, would you have preferred to just watch it without the cat scene from the beginning? Like, I know
No.
you kind of mentioned your process, but you needed to see that. You think you needed to see that first?
yeah, it's part of the movie. And I need to
Yeah.
judge the movie on what it is, not
Yeah.
like if the director put out, you know, The Innocents, the catless cut, you know, that would be different. And I would be like, give me that version of the movie every single time. That's what I'm going to watch, you know. But you know, the first time I was dreading it. I knew that it happened around the 20-something minute mark, and I was just sitting there dreading that scene, wondering what was going to happen. Again, I should have looked it up and read it.
I did feel kind of bad picking this movie, knowing the effect that it would have on you, you know, Scotty. So
That's okay. That's okay, because so many people said this was an excellent movie, and I really did want to watch this movie eventually. And when Andrew told me way back at the beginning of the year that he wanted to have you on the podcast and that you were going to pick this movie, I probably would have watched this movie sooner this year, but I was waiting to watch it with you. So don't feel bad about giving me this movie. There's lots of movies where they do bad things to the family pet, you know, and sometimes I like the movie. Sometimes Smile, okay? A great example. It did not ruin that movie for me, you know? That's why I needed to see the scene in the movie. I needed to see how it would affect my viewing of the movie when other movies have also killed the family pet, and I hate it, but it didn't ruin the movie for me. So I think it says something else about the story and how they told this story in this movie that scene did ruin it for me. So I think that's a very interesting thing to study and think about, you know? So don't feel bad, Alex.
okay. All right.
Well, that was Alex's last time on Fun with Horror, ladies and gentlemen.
I know. Gosh. Sorry, guys. Well,
maybe
hey, if you ever do have me back on, I promise no animal cruelty in the movie I pick.
we'll do a redo of Psycho Gorman and have you on. Then I think
Heck of a movie.
Yes. My prayers have been answered.
ما حضرتك؟ Du blør. Va? Du blør her.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me here on my very first podcast ever. So thank you for that. And as a token of my appreciation, I did get you guys a very, very small present. And very small, literally very small. And so, there we go. So what I'm showing is a little button, little flare of it. That one's yours, Scotty.
Of what?
Pennywise. Pennywise.
Just making sure that people are like, what is it? What are you talking about?
Yeah, Pennywise from It. And then for Andrew, Sam from Trick or Treat.
awesome, dude. Thanks, man.
That's amazing.
So-
Yeah, thank you.
Look at that. What
Just a little token of my appreciation.
When you showed the first one, I was like, well, that's more for me because I'm the Pennywise fan. And then you showed the second one, and that's definitely Andrew.
See, I wasn't lying. I'm a listener of the podcast, guys.
That's amazing.
All right.
That is. Thank you,
Well,
buddy.
now, yeah, absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Now it's time for, I think, Scotty to roll a 20-sided die to see who's picking next, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
So, Alex, I'm going to start rolling this 20-sided die. It's a virtual one. And you tell me when to stop. And if it's odd, Andrew is picking our next movie. If it's even, I'm picking it.
Okay. And stop.
It's a 15. Andrew, you're picking our next movie.
All right. Man, I should have picked a movie. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Dr. Giggles, but...
We've already done it.
We did that one. Shoot. Okay, I told you. I said to you that because we talked briefly. We didn't say what we were picking, but we had talked and said we're each going to pick a movie. And I said I don't think you're going to pick mine because there's a lot of new movies out right now. But I'm not picking a new one. I'm actually taking us back about what year is it? About 11 years. We're going to go back 11 years, and we're going to talk about 2013. Correct. We're going to talk about a movie in which the main character of the movie is someone you and I will be meeting in just a few weeks. My friend, we're jumping to 2013's Evil Dead.
Wait. Oh, we're meeting her.
Yeah, we're meeting her. I know, obviously, we're meeting
I was like,
Bruce. No, we're meeting Bruce Campbell.
Not in that.
No, but we are meeting Jane Levy who's the main character in that movie.
Mia, right?
Yes, correct.
Wow.
And
So we're going to do Evil Dead.
I figured it'd be fun to do that before we go and say hello to her in person. So
that's amazing, dude. That's a good choice. I never even would have thought of that because we already did Evil Dead Rise.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I watched Evil Dead 2013 to prepare for that movie. So now we're going to go back and watch that brutal ass movie again.
I know, it's so brutal.
Have you seen it, Alex?
I don't think I actually have seen that one. No.
It's pretty brutal.
Well, you will now.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah, I figured that would be a fun one to do because it's been a while since I've seen it, and I was like, I gotta watch that before we go and meet our friends from the Evil Dead series. So
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, so everybody, we are watching Evil Dead 2013 next.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it'll be kind of, I feel like a good one because it'll be our October 1st episode, our very first October episode.
Ooh,
and I feel
our
like
first
Evil
Halloween
Dead,
episode.
Our first Halloween episode. Evil Dead, I don't know, I think it'll be a fun one for our first Halloween episode.
I love it, dude. I love it. I love you.
I love you.
And I love you, Alex.
And I love you both.
Oh,
You're great.
I love you too.
And we love everybody out there. Everybody, as always, thank you so much for being a part of Fun with Horror. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being patrons, those of you who are patrons with horror. And if you're not, as always, it's $5 a month to become a patron with horror, and you get access to a bunch of exclusive episodes. And just so you know, one of those episodes, the very first one we ever did, I am going to release as a regular episode, just so you all can hear the level of excellence that we still bring to Patreon. But we're going to do that. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Find us on social media. Send us a message. We'd love to talk to you. And Alex, once again, thank you so much for being on. This was a lot of fun. I hope you have fun.
I had a ton of fun, guys. This was a blast, and a movie I like talking about. So it was a good discussion between us.
And full disclosure, Alex has been laying in his bed the entire time. So
he's not wrong.
All right. Well, I love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and 2 weeks until we join you again for Evil Dead. This is Scotty signing off.
This is Andrew signing off.
And this is Alex signing off.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vad heter det? Mamma, du blör. Vad heter det? Du blör. Va? Du blör här.